could you do that?
Yeah. Oh, it looks like Colleen's on. Hi, Colleen. My name's Kayla. How are you?
Hi, Colleen. Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry, I'm
No,
here.
no, that's fine. So she's going over how to do the initial eval. But since you have 30 minutes, do you have any specific questions, or is it okay that we go through
No,
that?
this is perfect.
Okay.
I don't have any specific. Okay.
Now, do you guys want me to kind of just walk you through what's required on each tab, or do you have questions about some of this?
What do you think, Colleen?
You can just walk through the tabs.
Okay.
I didn't have any specific questions I could think of.
Okay, so I'll do that. So I will walk through if you guys have a Medicare patient, just because that's going to be probably the most strict of all of the insurances.
Mm-hmm.
So on each tab, I'll walk you through the required fields. Everything else that you'll see in WebPt is optional. So you guys are the therapists. Everyone's going to do it a little bit different,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll make sure to cover what you'll have to fill out. So date of initial exam, that's going to populate as a date that you open the note. If you guys need to backdate that, you can. And then the diagnosis codes here, right now it says unknown because those codes were not added at the patient's chart level. So if you ever see unknown, all you'll need to do is click on the trash cans and then click add new code to add the code that you need.
So that ICD-10 code is only for the initial eval, right? We don't need to do it on the SOAP note, like daily note.
Correct. It'll
Okay.
automatically be placed on your daily note.
Okay.
So we'll add a code in there. And then you can use this copy codes from diagnosis to just have it copy into the treatment diagnosis box here.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing you'll want to pay attention to is the injury onset date, change of status. So that's going to be the date that you open the note. But if you have a patient that comes in and they said, oh, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, we do require a calendar date. So just use your best judgment on a date there. And then we'll keep scrolling down. All of this is going to be optional. And then we're going to get into the medical history section. So it's pretty extensive. The only other thing that's required is going to be the low, moderate, or high complexity. So we'll choose one of those here. And then we'll click next to go into the next tab. Before I do so, are there any questions for the subjective tab?
So this is for Medicare, right? And you said Medicare is the most strict one. So even with Medicare, other parts are not required to fill out?
Correct.
Okay.
And the nice thing with WebPt is if you skip something, when you try to finalize the note, if the insurance requires it and you haven't filled it out, it will not let you finalize, and it'll give you what's called a red flag alert. So in red text, it'll show up that you need to correct something within your note.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, now the objective section. So we have some profiles built out for you up here, so you guys can load profiles in. You guys can also, oh yeah, it looks like you have one in here. You guys can also create your own profiles. So I'm just gonna go ahead and click on a random one and we'll get that loaded, and then you'll see those tests that are gonna show up down below. The only thing on the objective tab that Medicare requires is at least one outcome measurement, and that's gonna be right here in this drop down. So you can select one of these. So I will just select one here. All right, so now you're going to see that blank box. So you have two options. So you can fill out like a hard copy of the test and then just place in your score right here, just type it in, and then you can upload that to the patient's chart. Or you can click where it says show test, and that's going to populate an electronic version that you would just go through this. You fill this out, and then it will auto-calculate your score.
Okay.
So you'll see it put in 44 for the percentage.
So, like in the beginning, you opened initial eval. You saw the one I created in the beginning. I mean, like we are already here, but do you know what I'm talking about?
Do you mean like the case note that you had created?
Yes, did I create the initial eval case note?
You did not.
Okay. because we get a lot of neuro patients, like Parkinson's patients. So if we want to pick specific outcome measurement for the neuro patients, I'd like to see how that shows up.
Yeah, so are you talking about this one here?
Yes. I don't know what I created, but I kind of...
You did create a profile, so what we'll do is we'll load this one in here.
Uh-huh.
And then you'll see the test that you had included. So you must have gone through the profile section and selected what you wanted to have show up in this section.
Yes.
The OMT is going to be the same, so this drop down will be the same. Now, if there's a test that you guys use that our system does not have, you can always do the custom section. Let's see if we have that in here. Doesn't look like we do, so I'll show you that. So if there's ever a test that you need, but it's not in the profile, you can always search in this box to pull up an additional test to add it. So if I click on this, I'm going to add that. Then it will show up down here. So now you're going to see the custom section.
Yeah.
And you would click yes. And then that way you can put in the name of the test, any comments, the score, and then you would just upload it to the patient's chart.
Okay, and this outcome measures that we take will be transferred to the reassessment or progress report or daily. Like, where do they do? The scores are transferred to the other notes.
Yes, so the information that you put on your initial exam will automatically carry forward into your future notes. So on your daily note, you will see that as well.
Okay.
Now, if you need to retest, that's when you'll do another evaluative note. And so you'll do like a progress note or a re-eval or something like that.
Okay, thank you.
And then anything else that you see here that's checked off as no will not show up on your finalized note. So anything else, you just click yes to see what other information you would like to put in there.
Okay.
Any other questions on this section?
No, for me.
Nope. Makes sense to me.
Okay. All right. So now in assessment, the required fields are going to be the patient clinical presentation, so low, moderate, or high, and then your problems and goals. So right here, you're going to have your problem. Your problem will go here. And then you would put your goal here. For goals, we do require a short or long term, and then also a duration. You can add additional, so you just click on this link here where it says add another problem or add another goal.
Okay.
Any questions here?
No,
that makes sense.
I don't think so.
All right, now for plan. So for your Medicare patients, you need to fax out that plan of care to be signed off by the physician. So in order to do that, you would click on the create plan of care document here, and then Medicare does require a frequency and a duration. So you would put that in, and then you would just mark off any treatments that you're going to be providing during that plan of care.
Gotcha.
Any questions here?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Now the billing tab. So we're going to have the PTE value. You'll notice that the moderate complexity is underlined based on how you filled out that note. So you would set off the untimed code there. This patient that we set up, I'm going through it like it's a Medicare patient, but we set them up as self-pay. So the self-pay does not require minutes to be put in for the units or anything like that for the charges. So when you have a Medicare patient and they actually have Medicare attached to their chart, once you select any of these, then you will see a minutes box populate so that you can enter in your minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my question, like another question. So, so if you click the evaluation and other treatment, that, like you said, small box shows up and you type in the minutes, but under, if you go up, can you go up a little bit more?
Yeah.
with the Medicare patients under billing sheet or somewhere, I did see total minutes and duration. And it said it will be calculated based on 8 minutes rule. So do therapists have to calculate total minutes, or the system will calculate?
You will have to put in the minute for the eval codes and then any unit. So if you did 1 unit, you would have to put in like 15 minutes. But our system will auto calculate all of it. So if you have a couple of different units down here and your PT eval of 30 minutes or so, that will auto calculate and give you your direct treatment minutes.
Okay, so only part therapists have to fill out is clicking that what they did, and the box shows up in the next to it and put it in.
Correct.
Okay.
So if you did 1 unit of manual therapy, now it's up to you guys if you want to use our flow sheets or not. Our flow sheets are just an electronic version of what exercises you do with the patient. Do you know if you'll be using ours, or do you guys have some flow sheets that you guys like that you already use?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
So our flow sheets, so usually when we put in units here, you make a note about what exercises that you do with the patient. And so we have an electronic version, which is right here where it says open flow sheet. And so you can put in all of your exercises here.
Okay.
Or sometimes people have their own flow sheets that they already like to use, so they don't use ours, and that's okay too.
I mean, I'd like to see how to use this one.
Okay. So you can build out your exercises by clicking add exercise here. And then we have a library of exercises where it says WebPt exercises, and then you can search for what you're looking for. And then you can just add the exercises. If we don't have the exercise that you're doing with the patient, you can just go into the general exercise tab here and type it in to add it. So you can add in your custom exercises. You can add in as many as you need.
So those exercises you add here will be transferred to the daily note. And let's say straight leg raise, then that will show up on the daily note, and they can just add the frequency.
So the way the flow sheets work is you'll build out your flow sheet profile. So I've added these 2 exercises. You'll see this date next to it. So it'll have 5/13. So then the next time the patient comes in, you'll open up flow sheets again, and there's going to be another line item, and it'll have the new date. So it kind of just builds out an extensive flow sheet profile. So it'll have all of the dates listed.
I see. And okay, so that is separate from the regular soap note.
Correct. It is separate. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand, but it is like a separate form.
I see. Okay. So, but that doesn't need to be built, right?
It doesn't have to. So if you guys don't want to use our flow sheets, what you can do is you can put in your exercises in this box and just put your notes in there, and those will flow forward. Or if you already have different flow sheets that you use maybe on paper, you can always upload those to the patient's chart.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I hope I understood so much information, so I'm kind of getting confused too, because I was going over some of the thing, and I did see some kind of exercises place that you pick some exercises, and that seemed like that was going to be built into the daily note, but I guess that was my misunderstanding.
Was there a link to the exercise flow sheet in the daily note?
There is, yeah. So it'll be the same. So your daily note will look the same. So when you go into open flow sheet here, your exercises will be in there. So you don't have to redo it every time.
Right.
You would just add in a new date.
Okay.
And this one, it takes a little bit of practice. So it's not difficult, but it's kind of a hard concept until you go in and you practice. So what I would recommend doing is pulling up this fake patient and just kind of go through different scenarios. And just do whatever you guys need to do on the fake patients chart, or you can create another fake patient if you like.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so everything that I covered with you is for the initial exam. It is also for your placeholder. So the placeholder will be exactly the same. The only difference is that, like I was telling Kyoko in the beginning, for your placeholder, what that'll be is information from your last evaluative note. So you're basically just kind of creating a placeholder. When you do that placeholder, you will do a no charge visit. So over here, we have a checkbox, no charge, because you're not going to do a billed visit for that last evaluative note since you've already seen that patient for that visit. So it'll just gray out this tab here, and then you can finalize.
Okay.
And then over here, we have finalize. So you have a preview button, so you can preview your note, or we just have finalize. So if you click on finalize here, you'll then be directed to the chart, and you're going to see that initial exam is in here, the plan of care that you would need to fax out, and then the daily note with any billing charges.
Okay, so plan of care is the one which has to be faxed out?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that part, can I do it or the therapist have to do?
Yes, anyone can fax anything out, so you will be able to do that.
And you have to click this triangle button next to that rare. Okay.
Yeah, so there's going to be this fax it option. So you'll select that, and then you'll click on the triangle,
Mm-hmm.
and then this box will pop up. If they have a referring physician attached to their chart,
Mm-hmm.
that referring physician will be listed up here already for you,
Mm-hmm.
or you can choose from your list of referring physicians. And then down at the bottom, you'll notice it has plan of care, which is included in the fax. And then you can request physician signature and then click send fax. It will create a new line item on the patient's chart, and it'll tell you if the fax was successful.
Okay.
And then I'll open up a daily note here. So now you're going to see the option for a daily note listed because we already have an evaluation done.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the ICD code's in there. Any information that you'd put on the original note would be in here. We didn't fill this out, so there's nothing in here. So you'll know it looks the same, and then we'll go to the next tab. The objective tab is now the billing tab, so it will look the same. It's just in a different spot, but the billing sheet will be the same. And so you'll notice we have that open flow sheet section. So if we open that in the daily note, you still have those exercises in there.
Okay.
And then the assessment, any information that we had put in here would flow forward. You'll notice I had a problem there and a goal there. And then plan, so any notes about the plan. So that's kind of what the daily note looks like. Do you guys have any questions on the daily note?
No.
Mm-mm. Makes sense.
Okay. All right. Anything else you wanted me to show you or walk you through, or any other questions?
Colleen, do you have anything?
No, it seems pretty easy to use. I'll play with it and see if I come up with any questions.
Okay.
But
sounds good.
Makes sense to me. All right.
Sounds good.
I'm going to get going so I can go see my patient.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Colleen.
Thanks,
Sure,
Connie.
thank you. All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, so Kyoko, we do have another call, just the final graduation call. And so I'm not sure if we have scheduled that one yet.
I think so, but before going,